Heartwarming test. Millionaire disguises as janitor discover the unexpected love that changed everything. In the bustling heart of Chicago, a story of profound connection began to unfold when a millionaire CEO decided to experience life from the other side of the tracks. Donning a janitor-esque disguise, he would soon meet Sam, a humble 45-year-old who spent his days pushing a cleaning cart through the gleaming hallways of a prestigious corporate office. For Sam, each morning began with the familiar scrape of his worn sneakers against a polished floor, the weight of his family's struggles on his shoulders. With a tired smile, he thought of his wife and 2 teenage sons, their hopes resting firmly against his weary heart. Sam's mornings always had a routine. Don the faded blue uniform, grab his mop and bucket, and set out to keep the corporate world clean. The office shone brightly, but Sam felt the undercurrent of ambition and urgency surrounding him like static electricity. His father, a factory worker, had raised him with a work ethic that would not bend, and with each sweep of his mop, Sam hoped to create a better life. Yet, shadows lingered. His estranged daughter, Emily, a college graduate navigating her own turbulent life, felt like a chasm they'd never bridge. Enter Tom, the millionaire on a mission to understand those he'd only known from his ivory tower. Unbeknownst to Sam, this disguised man shared humanity's struggles. Over shared lunches filled with laughter and solemn stories, their bond grew deeper, 2 souls uniting in a world that often blurred the lines between privilege and hardship. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sam's heart sank as whispers of a corporate restructuring snaked through the office like fire in a dry field. His palms were sweaty as he junked the trash, fearing he might lose the one stable thing in a chaotic existence. Fear for his family gnawed at him, unseen but palpable. As those higher-ups walked with indifference, it struck Sam deeply. Did they see him as just another cog? Tom sensed Sam's turmoil, the weight of privilege heavy on his shoulders. He was forced to reckon with what he'd taken for granted. Sam's unwavering spirit inspired Tom to question his very identity and role in this harsh world. As the clock ticked on Sam's job security, a quiet confrontation brewed. Emily, feeling adrift in a sea of expectations, stumbled upon glimpses of her father's life. It shattered her misgivings about who he was, a man fueled by integrity and sacrifices. Suddenly, the jigsaw pieces of family, duty, and individual dreams began to unveil a picture she'd never truly understood. In these pivotal moments, the walls began to crack. Could Sam's life change in ways he never imagined? Just then, with tension swirling like a storm, a powerful moment of realization dawned on all 3 of them, awakening questions of love, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of connection. Sam stood at the brink of a decision, both heart-wrenching and life-altering. Emily watched, emotions swirling, as her father and Tom grappled with their unspoken truths. Would this unlikely friendship bring them all closer together, or would societal barriers keep them forever apart? As the suspense hung in the air, readers are left to wonder what unfolds next in this tale of unexpected love and resilience. Sam stood there, mop in hand, as the tension between him and Tom crackled with unspoken words. His heart raced. Was he ready to face the truth of his family situation? The idea of failure loomed over him like a heavy cloud. He'd always been the one who held everything together. But what if that was about to shatter? Tom shifted slightly, sensing the weight of the moment. The disguise felt tighter, more suffocating. It was no longer just a mask to study the world, it was a bond to break through the barriers they each faced. Sam, I don't want to intrude, but I see you. I see how hard you work, and I can't help but admire your resilience. Sam looked up, surprised by the honesty in his voice. No one ever acknowledged his struggles in such a way. "I'm just doing what I have to do," he said, shrugging it off. But the sincerity in Tom's eyes made him feel exposed. He wanted to share his fears, but words felt like stones lodged in his throat. Meanwhile, Emily paced in her apartment, scrolling through her phone. Images of her father's working life flooded her mind. She thought back to the stories he shared with her as a child, the little victories that painted him as a hero. But life had twisted her perception after years of disconnect. The anger and disappointment had clouded over her memories. Now she felt an aching need to understand him. "What if I reach out?" she whispered to herself, uncertainty coiling in her stomach. Images of their last argument, filled with harsh words and choices made separately, surfaced. She had felt abandoned, but now she questioned if that was fair. Could they rebuild the bridge? The thought sparked a flicker of hope deep inside her, hope she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Back at the office, Sam's mind raced. He couldn't afford to lose this job. But what if the restructuring meant an opportunity to confront his fears? He squeezed the mop handle tighter, channeling the raw energy through his veins. "Tom," he said at last, his voice barely a whisper, "I've got to ask, you believe in second chances, right?" Tom's heart skipped. "Absolutely," he replied, nodding. "In fact, I'm living proof. But it's not easy. You can't wait for the right moment to act. Sometimes you have to create it." An unsteady breath escaped Sam's lips. Did he have the courage to step out of the shadows? Perhaps it was time to reach out to Emily and bridge the gap that had formed. He imagined her younger self, bright-eyed and full of potential, not the distant woman she'd become. Just then, a screech rang out from the hallway, snapping both men back to the present. A woman with a clipboard had just seen them. "Tom, Sam, we need to talk," she said, the urgency in her voice unsettling the air further. "What now?" Sam's heart raced, eyes darting to the side. The dread of losing everything seemed to tighten around him once again. Tom stepped forward, his voice steady but uncertain. "Look, let us hear her out. We can't afford to ignore this." As the woman gestured them towards the conference room, a rush of anxiety surged through Sam. Was this the fateful moment that would lead to potential loss or maybe rebirth? He glanced at Tom, who offered an encouraging nod. With every step toward that conference room, Sam felt the weight of what lay ahead. Little did they know, this meeting was about to turn their lives upside down. What awaited them behind those doors? Would it be a chance to change everything? But would facing their fears bring them closer together or tear them apart for good? The conference room door swung open, a rush of cold air beckoning them inside. Sam's heart thudded against his ribcage like a drum, each beat echoing his rising dread. He exchanged a glance with Tom, who was now a solid presence beside him, a quiet anchor in an unsure. As they entered, they were greeted by the sharp glare of fluorescent lights and a long table that felt as intimidating as a courtroom. At the head sat a stern-looking woman, her clipboard poised like a weapon. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice clipped. "I'm here to discuss the future of this department." "Can you be specific?" Tom asked, his tone steady but curious. She nodded. "The company is going through restructuring, and while we recognize certain strengths, there are changes we need to make. We need to know if you can adapt." Sam felt his stomach drop. Adapting had never been his strong suit. He was a creature of habit, someone who thrived on stability. "What does that mean for us?" he managed to ask, his voice a shadow of confidence. "It means opportunities may arise. We're looking for people willing to take risks, push boundaries," she explained, her eyes glancing toward Sam. "People ready to step out of their comfort zones." A tangle of emotions surged within Sam. This was it, the moment he could seize the chance to redefine everything. But, he thought, could he really push through the fear that clung to him like a thick fog? "I'd like to think I can adapt," he heard himself say. The words felt foreign, yet liberating as they escaped his lips. The woman's eyes widened a fraction, and she leaned forward. "That's good to hear, Sam. Because every department needs a change agent. You might just be what this place needs." Tom clapped him on the shoulder, a burst of encouragement that felt like a jolt of electricity. "See? You've got this. Now's the time to prove that you can rise to any challenge. But as Sam felt a flicker of hope ignite within him, a soft voice crept into his mind, the voice of Emily. Memories of her disappointment, of the divide that had grown between them, swirled like smoke. Could he really change his life here while she still felt arrayed with grudges? Can we have some time to think about it? He asked suddenly, surprising even himself. I need to consider how this role will affect my personal life. The woman nodded slowly, her expression shifting to one of understanding. Absolutely. You both have until the end of the week to decide. But I urge you to reflect on your priorities. As they left the conference room, a mix of excitement and trepidation buzzed in the air. Sam took a deep breath, channeling the quiet courage he felt alongside Tom. But with decisions looming over their heads, the path ahead felt obscured, filled with shadows of the past. Sam, Tom said hesitantly, pulling him back as they stepped into the hallway. You know we can tackle this together. But I think you need to talk to Emily too. She deserves closure, and maybe you do too. Perhaps you're right, Sam sighed. The thought of reaching out to her sent ripples of anxiety throughout his body. But what if it backfires? Tom's gaze was firm. It won't. Sometimes you have to risk it all. You owe it to yourself to try. In that moment, as they strolled back to their workstations, Sam felt the weight of uncertainty shift ever so slightly. Could he really muster the courage to face Emily and begin mending what was broken? But just as those thoughts turned into hopeful plans, his phone buzzed with a message. He glanced down, the screen illuminating his face in a blue glow. It was from Emily. Would it hold the key to rekindling their lost connection, or would it propel him further into doubt? Here we go, he whispered, heart racing once more. What awaited him in the next message? As Sam stared at the message on his screen, a wave of memories flooded in. Months had passed since they last spoke, but the ache was still fresh. Holding the phone tightly, he felt his pulse quicken. He inhaled deeply and opened the text. Can we talk? I need to see you. Important, it read. Just those few words reverberated in Sam's chest. The weight of her request sent him into a spiral of what-ifs and memories of warmer days, laughter shared over takeout, whispers under the stars, dreams spoken in soft tones. Dude, you okay? Tom interrupted his thoughts, peering at Sam with deep concern. You look like you just saw a ghost. Sam stammered. It's from Emily. She wants to talk. Right now? You should go. Tom urged, his eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. This could be the moment you're waiting for. Don't overthink this. With the little courage he had gathered, Sam nodded, almost blindly. He turned and made his way toward the exit, his heart pounding in rhythm with each step. The hallway felt longer, and the buzz of voices faded away. All he could hear was the thumping of his heartbeat. He hesitated at the door of the quaint coffee shop they often frequented. It was familiar but held a weight of expectation now. What would she say? What could she possibly want? Was he ready to face the past? The bell above the door chimed softly as he stepped inside. He scanned the room until he spotted Emily sitting at their usual table. She looked up, surprise flashing across her features but quickly replaced by a nervy calm. Sam, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Thanks for asking me to meet, he replied, feeling the air thicken between them. What's going on? She gestured to a small cup in front of her, steam rising from it like memories haunting the air. I didn't know how to say this over text. I wanted to make sure you had a chance to hear me out. He took a seat, the clatter of chairs around them fading into nothingness. I'm listening. I've been thinking about us, she began, her fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. I don't want to hold on to the past, but I can't ignore it either. Something needs to change. Sam held her gaze, searching for the warmth he once knew. Emily, I know I haven't made it easy. I'm trying to figure things out at work too. And I know, she interrupted, a softness creeping back into her tone. Tom told me about the restructuring. Change is hard, but maybe it's also what we need. For both of us. She took a breath, her eyes misty but determined. What I really want is to apologize. I'm sorry for not being supportive. I thought I could be that person, but instead, I distanced myself. Because I felt lost too. His throat tightened. The outpouring of honesty from her sent sparks of hope dancing in his chest. It felt as though a door had cracked open, revealing light that had been too long hidden. And I wish I had realized sooner that pushing you away would only hurt us both. She continued. I think we can work through this, but we need to be brave. Fear and exhilaration collided within him. Could he actually take that leap? The very idea sent adrenaline coursing through his veins. Just as he began to form words, the bell rang again, drawing their attention. A newcomer stepped inside, a young boy who held a gleaming trophy, clearly celebrating a win. He darted toward a friend's table, laughter and cheers erupting, all the warmth of camaraderie flooding the atmosphere. Sam turned back to Emily, the moment slipping past them like the light drizzle outside the window. It's just, how do we begin again? As the laughter faded into the background, Emily leaned in closer. How about we both take the leap together? Her words hung in the air, heavy with promise. But before he could respond, his phone buzzed again. A reminder of the deadline for his work decision. It flashed on the screen, the weight of choices clouding the moment. Suddenly, clarity broke through the tumult in his mind. The notion that love might require the same courage as his career rattled through him. Could he embrace both opportunities, risking it all for the chance of rebuilding his life? Could he tear through the layers of doubt that held him back? Sam, are you with me? Emily asked softly, a plea in her voice. He took a deep breath as anticipation crackled like electricity between them. Yeah, I am. But first, I need to make a choice. With their combined uncertainty hanging in the air, he wondered if he had the courage to forge ahead into the unknown. Would he chase the risk of new beginnings, or would he let the fear of the past continue to define him? The answer awaited just beyond the threshold of those intertwined possibilities. Sam's mind raced. The weight of his phone in his pocket felt heavier than ever. Reality crept back in, reminding him of the deadline that loomed, the expectations he had to meet. But at that moment, Emily's eyes filled with vulnerability, and hope held his attention more than any work obligation ever could. What choice are you making? Emily pressed, her brow furrowed with concern. A part of him wanted to say he would choose her, that their connection was worth the risk. But doubt tightened his chest. I need to make sure I don't lose myself in this, he replied. I can't just jump into something without knowing if I'll have what it takes to build it back up. Emily nodded slowly, as if weighing his words. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Just tell me, what do you want? What do we want? Her gaze felt like a lifeline. What I want, Sam began, his voice faltering, is to feel like we're on the same team again. To have those late-night talks, the plans and dreams, the real stuff. I miss that. A small smile broke through her anxious expression. Then let us get back to that. Sam felt hope flickering in his chest. Could it really be this simple? The idea of rebuilding, like constructing something fragile yet beautiful, filled him with a sense of purpose. But what if this fragile hope shattered again? He looked past her, taking in the quiet yet cozy atmosphere of the coffee shop, familiar but different, like a photo faded with time. He had loved everything about it. Their shared laughter, the way their fingers would brush against each other on the table, moments that felt incredibly real. Let us take it slow, then, he said finally. Start with small steps. Maybe coffee every week and we can see where it goes. No pressure. Agreed. Emily's eyes sparkled with relief, and an unguarded grin sparked across her face that lit up the dim cafe. We can try to understand where we went wrong and what new roads we can take. I want to find the pieces we lost, too. He leaned back slightly, a weight lifting from his chest. They could be fragile, but they could also be stronger together, their shared vulnerabilities creating a foundation. Just then, Tom's excited voice broke through the moment. He had popped in, waving enthusiastically as he spotted Sam and Emily at the table. Hey man, you guys are here. What's the update? Not too much yet. Sam smiled sheepishly, feeling the warmth of camaraderie rising within him. Just catching up. Tom raised an eyebrow knowingly, clearly catching the shift in the air around them. Good. I'm all about that. I knew you two would get back to it. He grinned, oblivious to the more poignant emotions in the room. Emily and Sam exchanged cautious glances, both of them aware of the subtle acknowledgement of their deepening connection. Oh, and Sam, Tom continued as he took a seat. Don't forget about that meeting with Moore tomorrow. You might want to focus a bit on that, huh? Sam swallowed, the reality of work hitting him like a cold wave again. Right, I'll get there. But inside, he felt a surge of determination. Emily was sitting across from him, and for the first time in months, perhaps he could balance both parts of his life. With a renewed sense of purpose, he looked back at her, finding her gaze still anchored on him. Emily, whatever this is between us, I want to give it the time it deserves. Let us not let the past define us, he said, feeling more certain as he spoke. I agree, she replied, her smile widening as if they had both crossed an unseen threshold. As they shared a comfortable silence, he couldn't shake the creeping tension about the meeting looming the next day. Could he juggle both the possible rekindling of his love life and the demanding work responsibilities? But before he could voice those concerns, the bell above the door chimed again. A rush of air followed, and Sam turned to look, his breath catching in his throat. A figure he never expected to see walked in: his old boss, Mr. Moore, who had a reputation for making or breaking careers. Sam. Moore's booming voice echoed through the shop, and the glance he exchanged with Emily was a mixture of dread and excitement. What did this visit mean? The stakes were about to rise, and Sam's world was on the edge. Would he be ready for the challenges ahead? And was he truly prepared to balance both love and career when it felt like everything was shifting beneath him? Sam's heart pounded in his chest. Mr. Moore was a relentless force in the business world, and his surprise appearance here felt like a storm cloud swelling on the horizon. The coffee shop, with its warm ambience and gentle whispers, suddenly felt too small, too claustrophobic. Sam, good to see you. Moore strode over, his sharp, tailored suit at odds with the casual warmth of the cafe. He had an air of authority that silenced the laughter and chatter around them. It's been a while. I wanted to have a word with you. Emily's eyes widened, her smile fading as she caught the unmistakable authority in Moore's tone. She grabbed her cup, pretending to focus on her drink, but Sam knew better. They were both feeling the weight of the moment. Sure. What's up? Sam managed. Moore pulled up a chair, instantly making the table feel smaller. I've been reviewing your progress on the green project. It's impressive, but I think we need to have a serious discussion about your future here. Great, just what he needed. Pressure on top of pressure. Sam clenched his jaw, glancing at Emily, who lowered her gaze, offering silent support. Honestly, I was just about to look. Sam. Moore interrupted, leaning in closer. You have potential, but potential is worthless if you don't capitalize on it. I want you to lead the team for the new campaign. An unexpected thrill shot through Sam. It was an honor, but the weight of the responsibility felt crushing. Lead the team? Wow, that's an opportunity. It is, Moore said, a grave expression on his face. But it comes with expectations. I need to know you're ready. Therefore, you'll need to immerse yourself in this project, starting tomorrow. Your performance will determine your standing here. Sam nodded slowly, feeling the swirling storm of emotions inside him. The challenge was exciting but seemed daunting. Could he handle the pressure while trying to find his footing in the more personal side of his life? Understood. I'll give it my all, he replied, though doubts gnawed at the edges of his resolve. Good, Moore said, straightening up. This isn't just about you turning in great work, it's about stepping up as a leader. Take charge and make your move. That's how you'll grow. With that, the conversation shifted back to small talk, and Sam found himself nodding absently while his mind raced. Emily's presence next to him reminded him of the balance he was striving for, the support he needed to stay centered. When Moore left, she looked at him with those expressive eyes that always seemed to ask more than words could convey. That's a big deal, Sam. Yeah, it is. He rubbed the back of his neck, feeling tension rise again. Are you okay? Honestly, I'm feeling a lot. He took a deep breath and met her gaze, searching for clarity. This could change everything for me. But I don't want to lose us in the mix. Emily's expression softened. You won, T. Just remember that you're more than your job. Whatever happens, we can figure it out together. Sam felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. Her reassurance felt like an anchor amidst the uncertainty. Thanks, Em. Your support means everything to me. They fell into silence, each taking deep breaths, digesting the day's whirlwind. Sam's mind spiraled over the decisions he would need to make in the upcoming days. Each choice felt pivotal, not just for his career but the rekindled connection with Emily. But the moment didn't stay peaceful for long. The door chimed again, and this time, it was a different figure, his old colleague, Hannah, bursting through the entrance with her usual vibrant energy. Spotting Sam and Emily, she rushed over. Just the people I wanted to see. Sam, I heard about the team lead offer. Congratulations. The excitement in her voice felt like a spotlight, opening the door for public scrutiny and expectations. Sam felt the weight shift again. Amidst his world spinning toward potential success, the risk of losing himself in it all loomed. Would he be able to hold onto this delicate new beginning with Emily? Or was he destined to drown in the demands of his career? As the flap of conversation filled the air, he couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that his life was at a crossroads. Just then, he stole another glance at Emily. Her smile brought warmth, but uncertainty still shadowed his mind. What would it take to balance everything? And was he even ready for the changes that were coming his way? The vibrant chatter of the cafe faded into the background as Sam felt all eyes on him. Hannah's enthusiasm didn't just shine a light on his achievement. It felt like a spotlight illuminating his insecurities. He managed a nervous smile, but inside, he was unraveling. Thanks, Hannah. It's a big step for me, he said, trying to match her energy but feeling it slip away. Emily remained at his side, quiet but palpable, her support a steady pulse against his uncertainty. You're going to crush it. I know you will, Hannah enthused, giving him a playful nudge. And if you need help, you know I'm just a text away. Really appreciate that, Sam replied, forcing out a laugh that felt more like a gasp. As Hannah chatted animatedly, his gaze locked onto Emily, who watched him with an intensity that made his stomach flutter and his heart race. The laughter faded when it hit him. What if he failed? The idea rattled through him like a chill wind on a winter night, and he caught a fleeting glimpse of his aspirations filled with disappointment. How could he lead a team when he couldn't even lead himself out of this emotional fog? Sam? Emily's voice broke through his thoughts, gentle yet firm. You okay? Yeah, just taking it all in, he said, breaking the connection with Hannah to turn fully to Emily, the warmth of her presence grounding him. I just feel the pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, right? She quipped, her smile teasing the edges of his worries. But seriously, you've got this. Just remember why you're doing it. Her words floated around him, wrapping him in comfort. He thought of the late nights spent poring over project proposals and brainstorming sessions where his ideas took flight. This wasn't just about the work, it was about stepping into a role that would transform him. But could it strengthen his bond with Emily as well? Thanks, Em. I will keep that in mind, he said, feeling a genuine smile lift his spirits a little. But then the door swung open again, and in strolled a tall figure, effortlessly turning heads. Sam's breath caught in his throat. It was Alex, the rival from his past projects. The air shifted, thickening with the sudden tension that hung around them like smoke. Oh great, Sam muttered under his breath, his stomach nodding. Alex had the uncanny ability to make everything feel like a competition. Hannah waved to Alex, her grin wide. Hey, how's it going? As they exchanged pleasantries, Sam tried to maintain composure. But a voice inside whispered that Alex wouldn't come alone. He was here to claim his territory, to remind everyone of his past victories. The stakes grew even higher. Emily looked at Sam, her brows knitted with concern. You good? Yeah, he lied, uncertainty coiling around his heart. If Alex seized the moment, would it unravel everything he was trying to build? Listen, Sam began, but the clamor around him drowned out his thoughts, driving him deeper into unease. Just as the buzz of conversation morphed into a chorus of excited chatter about Alex's latest successes, Sam's mind weaved between competing emotions, battling excitement and doubt. He felt like he was on the edge of a cliff, waiting for the wind to nudge him into an unknown. What if this turned into a fight for his position not just in the company, but in his own life? The warmth of Emily's hand on his arm was a small comfort, yet the lingering question plagued him. Could he rise to the occasion, conquer his fears, and still hold onto what mattered most? As he glanced at Alex, that familiar competitive fire ignited. It flickered through him, reminding him of everything he had fought for. The stakes were real, and the moment grew heavy with unspoken words. What would be the breaking point that determined his path, and would it come down to the choices he made tomorrow? The noise of the cafe faded even more into a dull roar as Sam's focus narrowed onto Alex, who casually strolled across the room like he belonged there. Sam's heart raced. The smile on Alex's face felt like a challenge, an invitation to compare past failures against present victories. "Check this out," Hannah called out, sparking a new conversation. "Did you all see the article about Alex's project? Impressive stuff." Sam forced himself to turn away from Alex, who was now joined by a cluster of admiring colleagues. There was something unsettling about how effortlessly he attracted attention. It felt like a spotlight swinging back to Sam, magnifying his insecurities. "Let us just focus on your moment, okay?" Emily whispered, stepping closer. Her eyes held a steady gaze, one that urged him to shake off the tension tightening around his chest. "You are returning to your moment, right?" "Yeah." He paused, breath catching. "I don't want him to distract me." "Then don't let him," Emily replied softly. Her hand squeezed his arm gently. "Remember what we talked about. This is your step forward, not his." With a deep breath, Sam let her words wash over him. "Right. My moment." He took a deep inhale, pulling in the mingling scents of coffee and cinnamon, grounding himself in the present. But every countdown toward his next endeavor felt tainted by Alex's presence. What if his debut was a shadow against Alex's spotlight? A thought flickered. What if he faltered? The crippling fear clawed at his insides. "Hey, what do you think?" Hannah had turned back to him, beaming with excitement. The optimism on her face clashed with the turmoil swirling inside him, leaving little room for balance. It's great," but his voice faltered. The enthusiasm wasn't there, muffled by a growing anxiety that threatened to choke him. "Come on, Sam. Are we going to let Alex win just by being here?" Hannah nudged him with a friendly elbow, teasing laughter bubbling up. "I thought you were tougher than that." Rage sparked at Hannah's playful challenge. "You're right," he fired back, the adrenaline igniting determination deep in his gut. "He's not winning this time. I'm done letting fear dictate my choices. Now that's the spirit." Emily grinned, her encouragement bolting through him like a shot of caffeine. Sam turned slightly, his gaze falling on Alex, who was engaged in a boisterous conversation. The challenge was undeniable. A flicker of resolve ignited in Sam. He wouldn't let Alex define his success or steer the narrative. He had pushed too hard to come this far. This was his moment to shine, and he wouldn't let anybody overshadow that. The laughter of his friends filled the cafe, a bubbling fountain that stirred his spirit. Less a battle with Alex, and more a triumph over his own doubts. It was refreshing, a reminder of why he started down this path in the first place. "Watch me," he murmured to himself, grounding his newfound confidence. Yet, as he gathered his breath, ready to rejoin the lively banter, the undeniable weight of fear still loomed like a specter over his shoulder. Could he sustain this newfound determination when it mattered most? And just then, Alex laughed again, a sound ringing through the air like an intrusive bell, drawing attention. Sam's heart sank. What if it turned out to be another disappointing day in a long list of them? Determined, he mentally prepared his rebuttal to Alex's next move. History would not define who he was. He would carve his own legacy. But in the very depth of his heart, a question remained, echoing with every pulse. What if the real challenge was yet to come, and would he be ready when it did? The moment hung in the air like a fragile thread, vibrating with barely contained tension, as Sam pulled himself back into the laughter of his friends. He could feel the old fears lingering, like shadows creeping closer, but he refused to be swallowed by them. "Did you hear what I just said?" Hannah was grinning wide, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "We're going to enter the cooking competition next month. Can you believe it?" Sam felt a flicker of excitement stir, trying to push through the dread. "Cooking? You think we could actually compete?" He chuckled, half thinking she was joking. "Why not? You're a fantastic cook, and Emily can whip up some killer desserts. It'll be fun." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and for a moment, the looming figure of Alex faded. Emily chimed in, her face as bright as the sun streaming through the cafe window. "Yeah, we'll show them what we're made of. I'll bring my secret recipe for chocolate cake." A laugh broke free from Sam. "Chocolate cake? Now you've got my attention." "Yes, between your savory dishes, my cakes, plus Hannah's extravagant decorations, we could actually make waves." Emily pressed, her excitement bubbling over. Sam leaned back in his chair, feeling the weight lift, even if just a little. "Okay, I'm in. When do we start practicing?" Suddenly, another burst of laughter rang out from across the cafe, and without thinking, his gaze flickered to Alex. The man was commanding the crowd, his voice rising above the buzzing conversations. It stung like an unexpected jab in the gut. "Forget him," he murmured silently, redirecting his focus back to his friends. Right now, they had an opportunity in front of them, a project that could serve as escape and adventure. "All right then, what about a theme? Something that will blow everyone away?" Hannah was relentless. Sam felt a rush of creative energy start to flow. "How about comfort food with a twist? You know, classic dishes but with unexpected ingredients." Emily finished for him, her eyes bright with inspiration. "Yes, I love it," Hannah exclaimed. Together, the three began brainstorming, the ideas bouncing off each other like a vibrant tennis match. Laughter, jabs, and nods mixed in a beautiful whirlwind. Hours passed, and the world outside blurred into forgettable noise. As they settled into their creative groove, Sam noticed the swell of camaraderie that surrounded him, the warmth filling every gap left by self-doubt. He could feel Alex's penetrating laughter distantly, but it now felt muted, like a separate universe entirely. This was their moment, an adventure of mixed culinary ambitions and friendship. It set his heart racing with excitement instead of fear. But as the cafe's closing hour approached, a familiar face made its way to their table. Alex was striding over, and Sam's pulse quickened. Was he here to mock? To belittle them? Or was it something else entirely? "Hey everyone," Alex said, his tone unexpectedly warm. "I couldn't help but overhear your cooking competition talk. Care to share some tips?" The unexpected friendliness ignited a spark of intrigue mixed with apprehension. Sam's heart pounded in his ears, leaving him unsure of how to respond. What was his game? "Sure?" Sam managed, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. But as Alex sat down, a strange thought crept into Sam's mind. Could it be that they weren't so different? Was there a way to bridge the divide between their paths? A moment of silence settled amongst them, and his eyes shifted between Alex and the trio. Sam wondered, would this unforeseen connection spark a fierce rivalry or unveil a new understanding? The unease swirled inside him like a storm ready to break, and he couldn't shake off the feeling that this change was just the beginning of something unpredictable. What would it mean for his moment? Sam took a deep breath, the weight of the moment pressing in. Alex sat there, casually engaging the group with a charisma that both fascinated and unsettled him. "I've heard about you, Sam," Alex said, his tone disarmingly friendly. "You're making moves." "Huh? Leading a team? Pretty impressive." Sam exchanged looks with Emily and Hannah, tension coiling in the air. "Thanks. It's a work in progress," he replied, his voice steady, though uncertainty still crawled beneath the surface. "Maybe we could collaborate," Alex suggested, leaning back with a casual demeanor. Combine our cooking styles for the competition? A strong team could really take it to the next level." The noise of the cafe faded away, leaving just the pulse of Sam's heart echoing in his ears. Did Alex want genuine collaboration, or was this a strategic move to undermine him? Hannah interjected. That's an interesting idea. What about themed dishes? Comfort food with a twist? The way she lit up at the thought was infectious, and for a moment, Sam felt the spark of optimism rekindle. Sure, why not? Alex chimed in. Gotta have fun with it, but let us keep it competitive. He chuckled, a lightness in his tone that danced on the line of genuine enjoyment and rivalry. Emily shifted, her eyes darting between Sam and Alex. There was something about this unexpected twist in their dynamics, an electric buzz that permeated the space. I just want to emphasize the fun with a twist part, she said, her confidence growing. We're not here to demolish each other. We're here to create something amazing. A shared nod swept around the table, and somewhere in Sam's mind, the discomfort began to dissolve. Was it possible that they could find some common ground through cooking, through competition? Could he let down his guard just enough to see Alex not as an enemy, but as a fellow creator? For once, he felt an urge to step boldly into this new venture, the playful competition empowering him to chase that exhilaration. All right, I'm in, Sam declared, catching the light in Emily's eyes. Let us make it fun. And who knows, we might just surprise ourselves. The spirited energy enveloped the table again. Laughter and banter filled the spaces where tension used to linger. They each tossed around ideas, the funky ingredient combinations, the themed dance parties for practice sessions. And each time Sam saw the spark of excitement in Emily's expression, he felt a palpable bond growing stronger in the presence of both friends and even rivals. As the evening wound down, Sam's heart swelled with a newfound sense of purpose. He was no longer subsumed by fear of failure. He was invigorated by possibility. The looming meeting at work felt less like a dread and more like a challenge he was ready to embrace. Hey Sam, Alex called out as the group began to disperse, lingering at the table. About tomorrow, I'm looking forward to seeing how committed you really are to leading. No pressure. Right back at you, Sam replied, a playful grin breaking across his face. For the first time, the sense of rivalry felt more like a thrill than a threat. As they parted ways, an aura of hope simmered in the coffee shop's air, and Sam, sensing the warmth of renewed connections, turned to Emily. Thank you for believing in me. Her smile was radiant. Together, we can handle anything, even competition. With every step toward the exit, Sam felt liberated from his earlier burdens, ready to embrace the changes in both his personal and professional life. Balancing leadership at work with rekindling his relationship with Emily felt daunting but exhilarating. As he stepped out into the night, a light drizzle began to fall, creating a soft rhythm against the pavement. Felt like a fresh start. Sam could see clearer now, no longer clouded by doubt, but illuminated by the possibility of growth, love, and friendship. Everything had shifted, and as he took a deep breath of the cool evening air, he was ready for whatever came next. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities not just in the boardroom but also in the precious realm of family and connection. This was not just a new beginning. This was a celebration of life's unpredictability and the courage to embrace it. Don't wait another second. You need to subscribe now to catch this transformative journey and more. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button and feed the algorithm. And comment below your thoughts and feelings about this inspiring ending. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Together, let us spread hope and connection.